Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Thank you for taking the time to join us. A few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and we will share it with you at the end of the webinar. We're going to post some links in the chat that you can access to learn more. And we really encourage using the Q&A functionality here to ask us any questions. Hopefully we'll have time at the end of the webinar and we'll be able to go through that. So today's webinar, we're going to cover Voca's new Omnichannel Experience. That includes voice, email, and web chat. We have our Voca experts on the call today, including Gidi, our Voca business line manager, and John, our solution expert, who will provide a live demo at the end of this webinar. It's also a very exciting time for Voca, as it recently won the CX Award for Best Microsoft Contact Center Solution. So congrats to the team on their hard work. And with that, I will pass it to Gidi.
Okay, so yeah, thank you, Melanie. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Voca CIC Omnichannel webinar, probably the most significant edition, Omnichannel, the most significant edition we've had for Voca CIC ever since the very first launch of the solution. And as kind of to get us going here, you know, I wanted to share that there's so much noise around AI, right? I think we can all agree on that. And, you know, so much talk about how, you know, different AI technologies can help improve different various experiences, up to the degree that, you know, non-AI technologies are almost overlooked these days. So while definitely there's plenty of AI in Voca, and we will touch on that a bit today, you know, a technology like Omnichannel that's not necessarily related to AI can definitely make a huge impact on both the customer experience as well as the agent experience. Now, interestingly, ever since we have launched the Omnichannel edition for Voca CIC, we are finding that a lot of organizations out there actually have not yet considered or have a clear strategy around digital customer experience and omnichannel. And what we have found from our conversations with customers is a lot of you out there feel like, you know, this can be complex, maybe to get going, to integrate, to implement, and so on. So today's session is all about just showing you, illustrating the benefits of digital customer experience, and then zooming into you know, some pretty unique design elements that we have going in Voca CIC around Omnichannel. And like Melanie said, we would even build, John, our Voca expert here, is going to build a web chat service from scratch in just around 10 minutes. So with that all being said, let's get started. So I wanted to start with, you know, just bringing some you know, data points around the adoption of AI and customer preferences when it comes to CX engagement channels. In this specific survey by McKinsey, they have asked customers, once you have tried to solve something using self-service, and we will talk about that, that's how most of us start a customer, you know, resolving a case. We first try to resolve that using self-service. When self-service did not work, what are the channels that you prefer to use to communicate with a specific brand? Now, obviously, and quite unsurprisingly, we see that phone is very much still out there, right? And by the way, you can see that this is divided to the different age groups. So we got the Gen Z, we got millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. So definitely phone is, you know, the most popular option, and we'll get to that very shortly. We'll explain why, you know, there's a tendency to go for a phone call, especially when it comes to more complex customer experience scenarios. But then we can definitely also see live chat and email as very popular engagement channels. You know, a lot of people out there think that something like a live chat is maybe less preferable for the older part of the population. Nevertheless, we can see that when it comes to live chat, and also of course with email, that's been around us with us from the early days of the internet, those two are very much preferred by customers when they look to communicate or interact with the brand. And we also got social media that's, more unsurprisingly more popular with the younger age groups. Now, where actually digital customer experience comes into play in the journey, to answer that, one kind of efficient way of looking at it is to divide cases, customer experience cases, between the more simple ones to more complex ones. Okay, so like I've mentioned, pretty much all of us, when we have some issue related to a specific product or a brand, the first thing that we will look to do is to resolve that issue using self-service, right? So we will go on the website, try to resolve it on our own. The younger population might see a bot or a virtual agent somewhere on the website and opt for that and try to give that a go. But very quickly, if the self-service or the bot did not do their job, we will find ourselves very quickly picking up the phone and making a phone call, especially when we have a complex case that requires us to speak with a real person, with a real live agent that can support our case. This is also illustrated with this figure that I've brought from Zendesk, okay, that compares between just general issues to more complex problems. As we can see, the only channel with a very dramatic increase when we are talking about more complex inquiries is the phone channel, right? So again, the more complex a customer experience case becomes, the more likely we are to go ahead and pick up the phone to get help. And that's exactly where digital customer experience comes into play. Again, live chat or email come into play, offering that new interaction option for customers, kind of a mid-ground between the self-service and the phone call. So just before someone is about to make a phone call, they might see, oh, wait a second, there's a live chat right here on the website. Why don't I use that? Or, maybe I'll just send the support team an email and resolve the case in that way. So basically, it's kind of a new option that we can bring in to help our customers, have a middle ground between resolving something on their own to placing an actual call using digital customer experience. And why would you prefer to use digital customer experience rather than a phone call? For us, it has to do with three key things. The first is time. Okay, so while when we interact with a live agent on a phone call, obviously we have to make time for that call to happen. There's only so much that we can do while we are on a call, right? So when we talk about digital customer experience, we're talking about an asynchronous way of communicating with the brand, basically in our own free time, not bound to things like opening hours or when an agent is available, right? I, as a customer, can go ahead and even in 2 a.m. send a chat or send an email and inquire about my, let's say, order status. So definitely expanding, the range of time in which I get to interact with a specific brand. Then it's also about place, right? Because when I need to make a phone call, I need to be available, and I need to be in a quiet area. I need to be in an area where there's good reception and so on to actually make that call. Whereas with a live chat or with an email, I can literally be in the middle of a meeting, middle of a webinar, if you will, or basically everywhere that I am, I'm able to start a digital interaction. So it's just expanding the accessibility and allows the customer to communicate with the brand no matter where they are, basically. And then, of course, it's also about cost, okay? Because, to provide service over a phone, the agent can only take one call at a time. And we need things like phone lines and phone system licenses and things like that, whereas with digital customer experience, the whole operation is much more cost effective. The agent can handle multiple interactions at once. We'll talk about all that as we move on. So for us, it's really about, enabling much more range of time, doing it from everywhere possible, and significantly bringing down the cost of operating the service experience when we talk about digital customer experience. From here, I want to zoom out a bit, take a step back, and then we'll go back to the omnichannel experience. We assume that a lot of you here might not necessarily know Voca so well. So I want to spend, just a few minutes on talking about the high level of our solution, what makes us unique, where we are positioned in the market, and so on. So a lot of you know, especially if you know AudioCodes, you know that a lot of what we do in AudioCodes is about Teams. Now, what happens with Microsoft Teams when it comes to contact center functionality? So in terms of what you can get out of the box from Teams, you can get some, basic, solid routing, queuing, and reporting capabilities, which typically, only go so far when we're talking about an enterprise customer experience use cases. Then on the other hand, we have, premium vendors, such as the examples that we've brought here. Of course, you can think of other examples as well, where, here we are talking about premium vendors that obviously offer a lot more than what you can get out of the box from Teams, actually sometimes too much than what the average enterprise out there actually needs. So a lot of enterprises out there would need more than what they can get out of the box from Teams, but maybe, for example, they would not need things like workforce management or other premium, contact center functionality. And that's exactly where we come into play with Voca, looking to provide that solid mid-ground option, definitely to bring our enterprise customers a lot more than what they can get out of the box from Teams, but at the same time, very loud and clear about the fact that, yes, we've added omnichannel, yes, we have built-in conversational AI, but at the same time, not looking to become, another premium option in the market, but kind of bringing the key necessities around the contact center experience to enterprises out there that use Teams, coupled with our own unique edge of built-in conversational AI. Now, Melanie, right at the beginning of the session, mentioned, us winning the CX award just recently, selected as the best Microsoft Teams contact center out there. And there are a few things that made this possible, a few things that make us unique in this space. There are 27 Microsoft certified contact centers as of today. And these are all things that make our solution very unique in this space. So I wanted to spend a few minutes to talk about those points. First and foremost is how we integrate two teams, okay? So as of today, Voca is actually the only solution out there in the market that leverages Azure Communication Services to achieve the Teams integration. So while other vendors are using SIP or Graph API to bring a call into the Azure ecosystem and into Teams, with Voca, the call already originates within Azure. So in the heart of our agent experience, which we can see here, and we will soon see it live in John's part, lies an SDK from Azure Communication Services that gives us an immediate window to the actual Teams voice layer, okay? This means that, there's no points of failure along the way, and this results in just tremendous reliability and uptime. This is something we found as we grow with this solution, just experiencing little to no downtime. And that's all thanks to how we integrate two teams using Azure Communication Services. And again, we are the only vendor in the world as of today to use Azure Communication Services for the team's integration with customers in production. The second unique point with Voca is the built-in conversational AI. So yes, I said that AI is making a lot of noise, and with Voca, we really went far with making conversational AI a true built-in component of the solution, okay? So while many contact centers out there will give you, we like to call it an integration window to conversational AI, with Voca, the Microsoft cognitive services that we use, like speech to text, and natural language understanding, text to speech, are all pre-integrated into the solution, pre-trained, and ready to work from the first minute of using the solution. Okay, so no integration work needed, no AI training needed. Everything related to conversational AI works completely out of the box with Voca. Now, our favorite use case to solve with conversational AI is call steering. So getting rid of that press 1, press 2, press 3 experience and upgrading that into a how may I help you, or where would you like to reach experience. The caller says, in open natural language what they need, where they would like to reach. Voca interprets that request and routes the call to the relevant place. It could be a contact, a department, or a call queue. So if you think about it, the press 1, press 2, press 3, it's probably one of the most outdated technologies in the enterprise IT space. And yeah, we can solve that completely out of the box with the built-in conversational AI in Voca. Then for the more complex scenarios beyond just let's bring a call somewhere, I'm talking about things like anything from, let's look at someone's caller ID and route the call based on that, through resetting a password or making a payment, inquiring about a support ticket, and so on. We have our visual flow designer, where it's also very easy to leverage conversational AI, but also to do things like dipping in the CRM, bringing information to the CRM, incorporating that in a call flow, dipping in a database, of course, being able to route the call from here to multiple, destinations, queues, departments, contacts, and so on. So everything beyond just call steering, our customers use the visual flow designer to achieve all sorts of automation scenarios. Then also very important to say, we are very passionate about bringing Voca to every department in the enterprise. We always like to say that a lot of departments in the enterprise need contact center. They just don't know that it's called contact center, okay? But when we ask departments, do you need a better way of handling a call after hours? Do you need a better way of bringing a call to the right person, and so on? Do you need some automation as part of your service experience? A lot of those departments actually need it, okay? So we made sure that we have a commercial model that facilitates that, okay? So this is a commercial model that's actually not limiting the number of users once or ever. It's a pure concurrent usage-based model where everything remains unlimited other than the actual usage, the actual traffic that flows through the Voca service. So very disruptive commercial model that gives IT the freedom to give Voca to every user in the enterprise that needs something beyond the basic, phone capabilities that you can get out of any phone system, and namely Microsoft Teams. And on top of that, of course, our add-ons for call recording and, of course, Omnichannel, which we are here to talk about today. Then it's also about how easy it is to deploy and scale Voca, thanks to our solution being a multi-tenant solution. So when we think about multi-site enterprises and service providers with multiple customers, typically you would want to separate between desks, and you don't want things like flows or reports mixing up between the different departments or the different end customers. Voca is a multi-tenant solution that can connect to a single Teams tenant of the enterprise. And the idea is that each Voca tenant has its own set of flows, its own set of admins, and so on, allowing you to separate between the different desks, between the different sites, between the different customers. And the best part, the Voca licenses can float between those Voca tenants on demand. So if I'm an IT leader and I'd like to, deploy Voca for a new department, I'm just a click of a button away from creating a new tenant and handing that tenant off to that department. Now, in combination with role-based access, it is very easy for me to, hand off the day two management, the ongoing management of the service to the actual department owner. Okay, so as an IT, I can, do the initial configuration, but then I can create super customized roles or access profiles. For example, I want to create a user that can only modify prompts. I want to create a user that can only view reports and so on. By doing all that, I'm just offloading the day-to-day management from the IT to the actual business or department owners. So the combination of multi-tenancy and the role-based access gives our IT leaders a lot of freedom in deploying and scaling the solution very easily. Lastly, very important is the fact that there are many vendors out there that do Teams phone enablement, and obviously there are many vendors out there that do contact center. We, AudioCodes, are the only vendor that actually has the Teams phone enablement or the Teams migration know-how and capabilities together with our own native contact center option. So for you, customers out there, end customers and channel partners, we become that single vendor offering for everything to do around Teams calling and everything to do around the Teams contact center. So it's single vendor offering, and also gives us a lot of advantage when it comes to supporting our customers. If anything goes wrong with a voice network on Teams, we would know how to handle that. If anything goes wrong with the contact center, we would know how to handle that as well, all under one roof. So these are all things that make us pretty unique in this space. And from here, I want to start focusing on, the new Omnichannel Experience, and talk a bit about some very exciting design elements that we have as part of this experience. So first and foremost, you will notice that it's a one-screen experience for the agent and the supervisor. Okay, so in many cases, we've had, what we see in surveys is that many customers out there are afraid that omnichannel means a separate app or a separate UI for the agents. You will soon see that in Voca, chat, email, voice are just all different tabs within the same application. The second thing that you will notice is, and we've seen that with many other contact center options in the market, where agents need to kind of manually pull or handpick digital interactions from a queue. We will soon see that in Voca, we have channel-specific availabilities where the minute an agent defines themselves as ready to receive a chat interaction, we are going to push this interaction to the agent just as if it was a phone call. Okay, so we're not leaving it for the agent to pull the interaction from the queue proactively. We will push the chat or the email to an available agent, just like a phone call. Another important design decision that we took is how we are allowing agents to handle multiple chats or multiple emails at the same time. Nevertheless, we call this a managed multitasking experience because you can actually control how many simultaneous interactions the agents can handle at the same time and define a set maximum for that capacity of multitasking. So we'll soon see that in the interface as well. And another thing that we put a lot of emphasis on is how do we authentically represent the agent activity in our reporting. We will soon see that, with many other contact center options, when we have an agent interacting with someone over a chat, for example, that does not necessarily get reflected in the reports, especially if they need to focus on a specific interaction. We will soon see that in Voca, we created this busy toggle that allows our agents to flag themselves as busy, and by doing that, stop from additional interactions from coming in, and also make it visible in the real-time dashboard that there's now an agent that's working on a digital interaction. So let me show you what that all looks like, what I'm talking about here. So this is what we mean by a one-screen experience. We will soon see it as part of the live demo. We can see that voice, email, and chat are all just different tabs as part of the same agent and supervisor experience, so no need to switch between applications to use Omnichannel. You might also notice the channel-specific availability bar. Okay, so an agent with Voca can be, ready to receive a call, on a break on the email channel, and interacting over a live chat at the very same time. Okay, so rather than forcing the agent to be ready or not ready across all engagement channels at once, with Voca, we made this a granular and super flexible experience where the agent can select where they want to be available, on which channel they'd like to be available right now, and adjust their availability based on changing demand or needs in the contact center. Our web chat experience, we will soon see it live. It allows, it's a lot of you know this already, also as customers, basically a live chat widget that we allow to place on a customer's website. And we would do intelligent routing here. So we will do things like route the chat, based on the reason of the chat, we would route it to the relevant queue and also to the most skilled agent in this queue. So using skill-based routing for that experience as well. Also, we would know how to route the chat to the last agent that spoke with this specific customer. And we would also, if that last agent is not available, we would be able to define overflow thresholds to hunt just any available agent in case the last agent was not available. You can also see that as a customer, I'm able to attach documentation and use emojis and everything that you expect as part of a chat experience. Now, from the agent side, we can see that obviously the agent can be assigned to multiple, chat queues. They also see all the chat context that came from the chat widget on the website, so they can be already up to speed with, specific information, and the customers are able to control which information is being collected from the customer. We will see this live shortly. And then, of course, the agent can also attach documentation. They can use conversation templates that can be pre-configured behind the scenes. And of course, they can forward or assign chats to a different queue in case that is needed. When we talk about the email experience, it's almost like, an Outlook, if you will, within the Voca Worker app. But again, intelligently routing an email to the, relevant queue, to the most skilled agent within that queue, and also to make sure that every email gets answered, part of the contact center reporting set, both historical and real-time reporting. And here you can also see that busy toggle that I was talking about. This is what allows an agent to say, this is an email that I'm now focused on. I want to stop receiving any other email from coming in because I'm focusing on this right now. And the fact that they're now busy on this interaction will be also reflected in the real-time dashboard. So the agent does not need to change their status to not ready to be able to focus on a specific digital inquiry. And of course, the agent can also reply or forward an email to other queues. Also very important to note that with digital CX, just like in a phone call, we have what we call supervisor live monitoring, right? Things like barge in, listen, and whisper. With digital interactions, we allow agents to flag those to the supervisor. So let's say that there's now an email that as an agent, I want to bring to my supervisor attention, I can do so in a click of a button. In terms of the supervisor experience, what we did here is we expanded that experience to also support, the multiple modalities, the email and the chat, okay? So the supervisor can remotely control the agent statuses across the different channels, voice, email, and chat. They can also see real-time statistics of what's going on in the voice, email, and chat queues in real time. And of course, then the real-time dashboard, which we will also see in action soon, that reflects all the real-time activity. But this new dashboard will also, of course, show the real-time activity in the email and the chat channels, okay? So we can see that we can bring multiple queues into the same real-time dashboard. This is something that you can customize in the admin interface. You can also control and set some color coding for what you consider a good answering time or a bad answering time. Just use color codes to define what's a good or a bad service level, and then hover over pie chart, these availability pie charts, to get a list of the active agents, their statuses, and the duration they've spent in each of these statuses. Again, we will see this all very soon live in action in John's part. To end my part, I'd like to show you a quick, it's a 1.5 minute video case study, a new one that we did with an enterprise that's based in the Netherlands called Van der Lande. Actually, I need to share it with audio, so excuse me. I'm just going to reshare with audio. Okay, so here we go.
We have to provide 24/7 support at our customers. So obviously also our contact center has to be 24/7 available. And I think Voca really helped us to improve the availability of our contact center.
What brought us here to this moment where we talk about this, successful relationship that we have?
It is a certain amount of trust. It's listening. Real listening to what we want and what we need.
Now we have all the control about it. We can create a hotline, create it, design it, and make it live in 30 minutes.
For us, the whole system is way more reliable than the old system.
We have a lot of departments that are using Voca CIC. It starts from the reception desk until our biggest or most important service department.
It is exactly what you need. It's no yes or no. It is that what you purchase.
From IT perspective, those guys have a lot easier way to work with Voca because the installation is way easier.
So time is money, and availability is also money.
Certainly trust. Trust is very important for us, not only to build it, but also to use it, to maintain it, and to manage it.
Okay, so I will say that one of the reasons why we believe it's important to show this kind of video case study is simply because we can, we see our customers talking a lot about how, we listen to customers. So, just before I hand it back to Melanie, I'll say that some of you might ask yourselves, why did we start with email and web chat? Where are the other digital channels out there? And the answer is that everything that we do in Voca, and those of you who are a customer of ours and are here, you know that every development that we do in Voca is purely based on field and customer request. email and chat, as we've seen in the beginning, also coming from field inputs, by far the most requested channels. Right before I turn it over to Melanie, I'll say that we are one of the only contact center solutions to provide a fully online POC experience, including the omni-channel capabilities that we will soon see. So I think John is going to talk about it, and then also Melanie. We wanted to encourage you to go ahead and give that a ride. And with that, Melanie, over to you for the live demo.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gidi. I mean, it's so great to also see that vendor land day video. And I know we have another customer case study coming up in the next couple of weeks that we're excited to share. So with that, I want to pass it to John, who's going to take us through a demo of how to add a chat channel to a web page in basically 10 minutes. So John, take it away.
All right. Let me drag this little thing out of the way. So I'm going to take this web page and I'm going to add the chat module to the page itself, the chat interface. So I'm not a web designer, so I'm going to show you how easy it is for even somebody that doesn't do web design to do this kind of thing. So to do that, I'm going to go to the administrative interface. I'm going to log in using credentials, and quickly get to the place I'm going here. Can't type today. 2, 6, 3. Okay, so from this interface, I've already built a queue for my customer service team, but I'm going to add a chat channel that allows customers to communicate exactly how they want to communicate, so they're not just limited to one type of communication, voice only or something like that. So I've already got my customer service queue built, but it's a voice only channel. So I'm going to add that feature. And here's that customer service chat or queue as it is. So when I go to Interaction Manager, this is where I'm able to define the way that the different interaction media, the different channels, communication channels that customers might use, I'm going to define the attributes that make that up. So for voice, that's going to be your phone numbers, where do they point, when do they point there, time of day, day of week, all of that. For email, it's going to be an email inbox that's going to point into the customer service or into the sales team and allow that team to handle those interactions. And then for web chat, a little bit different. We don't have an address or a number to use. We're going to actually build a module and embed that into that website that I showed. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create that brand new. I'm going to call it the customer service web chat. And I'm going to paste in the domain that I'm going to, of the web page itself. So let me copy that from another resource. I'm going to leave the standard settings for the time and all of that, but I need to set the auto messages. So these are messages that you would hear first, or the chat initiator would see as a response from the initial greeting. Thank you for responding. Someone will be with you momentarily. But then there's also a timeout. So if we don't get any response from the other side, we want to first let them know. So this is a, are you still there? This is about to end. And then once they've exceeded that time, we didn't receive a response and we ended the chat. So you can customize and tailor those messages to be, what you want your end customers to see. And then of course, you've reached us after hours type of greeting. So that's it from the general tab. Very simple to configure. Then I'm moving into the web design aspect of the web chat module. So this is going to be a logo that I can apply. Let's see here. I'm going to just select a nice little Voca logo. I'm going to call it customer service, and I'm going to do a thank you for reaching us. Just some kind of greeting for the welcome headline. I can select a color scheme. Since my page is in the purpley range, I'm going to leave it as is. And then, of course, I can specify where I want to place that widget, which can be very useful. Some languages read left to right, some read right to left, and giving you that flexibility to place it. Or if it just fits better on your website on the left side versus the right, you can select that. So I'm going to add it to the right. Then the last thing I have to define are the pre-chat elements. So these are questions or information we're gonna solicit from the chatter to know a little bit about who they are, why they're chatting, and how we can use that information to route to the appropriate agent or set of agents. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 3 fields. I'm gonna select a name field, an email address field, and a number field, and I'll define what those are. So this would be first their name, their email address, and then I'm going to ask them for their order number, since this is customer service and it's related to orders for this particular environment. I'm also going to make them all required. Then I'm going to add 2 contact reasons. So this is what is your reason for reaching out to us? Basically, it's answering that question. So I'm going to have one for orders, because these are the typical things that my contact center handles, and billing. Then I'm going to route them both to the same queue, the customer service queue, but I'm going to use the skills to help with that routing to determine, is this going to land with the folks that I've specified are better capable to answer order questions or billing questions. They can be the same folks, they can be a blend of the folks, or they can be 2 entirely different teams. Again, that's up to you to really optimize your contact center that makes the best sense for you. But by doing this, I can then parse those types of interactions out, the chat interactions out to the right teams. Once I hit save, I've created the module. The only thing I need to do now is get the line of code that Voca helps to auto-generate and put that into the website. So I'm going to go ahead and click the checkbox and grab the code script, do a little copy action here, and then I'm going to go to my web page editor. Again, I'm not a web designer, but I know enough to come in here and plop a line of code in the right spot. At least I've been coached how to do that. So here's the code that I'm applying in. I'm going to update the website, and then I'm going to flip back over to the actual web page in a different browser, do a refresh, and that will show that chat module now existing in the page. So I've got the little chat module indicator down here. Once I open that up, I now have the line of questions that I've prompted the individual for. So I'm gonna go ahead and initiate a chat. So my name is Jim at 123.abc. Fake order number here, and then I'm I'm chatting about my order, and I need an order update. So I'm going to go ahead and start that conversation, and you can see it now gets that initial response back to say, hey, we know who you are, we got you, we'll get somebody on this. So now I'm going to flip back to the agent side of things. I'm going to log in as an agent so that I can receive that interaction. So from the Voca interface, I'm going to go ahead and select the Voca Worker app. You're going to notice I'm going to use Microsoft Single Sign-In that's going to be tied to a Microsoft Teams account. So essentially what we're doing is taking the Voca Worker app and tying its functionality to the Teams seat. Teams is going to handle the actual audio itself, but I have in-app call control from the Voca Worker app to place the call on hold, to transfer the call, to really facilitate all attributes of the call. Plus, in the Voca Worker app, when I show it to you, you'll see how you can see a wealth of information about the party you're interacting with. Just need my Microsoft Single Sign-In to cooperate quickly here. Bear with me. So the nice thing about this is it doesn't require an agent to have a separate set of credentials. They're actually just using their Microsoft Teams credentials that they use every day to log into the applications that they use. And again, that's an important part of making that association between their Teams seat and the telephony functionality and the interaction side of the contact center. So you'll notice once I'm logged in, at the very top here, I've got 3 different communication channels that I can select from that are defining the availability of that agent. So with the voice channel that exists, I can put myself into ready, I can put myself into one of the custom break codes that are available or not ready codes. If I want to make an outbound call, I can do that. And that's going to be for each different communications channel. So for my email, I can, again, uniquely specify that I'm ready for this channel or interactions in this channel. And then for the web chat, of course, I can place myself into ready here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now I can see that interaction being presented to me or offered to me. It's from Jim. It's coming into customer service. So I am able to get an idea of where they're coming from and who I'm about to talk to. Then, of course, when I accept that interaction, what we're going to see is there are three bubbles over here that are defined for each interaction type. So my phone calls would be handled in live call, my emails would be handled in emails, and my web chats would be handled in web chats. I'm also logged in as a supervisor, so I am able to see the activity of my other teammates or the agents that I'm overseeing. But in this case, I'm going to look at the chats that are assigned to me. I'm currently in 3 different chat groups, and I've got this chat now being offered to me specifically. So when I open it up, I'm able to start engaging with the customer right away. I can either freeform type a response, or I can select from one of the conversation templates. So in this case, maybe I'll send them a nice little greeting, and I see that they need an order update, and I've got their order number. So I'm going to look that up. I'm going to let them know to look that up as well. So I'm going to say, give me a moment to look up your order status, and I'm going to send that to them. So with that, I can then look up the record, provide the information. Another thing that I could do is maybe knowing that it's a new product for them, I'm going to go ahead and send them the installation guide for the product. So that way they have all the information that they need to not only know the status of their order, but also to be able to install it properly and get the best performance out of it right away. In addition to either freeform typing using the conversation templates, let's say that the interaction landed in orders mistakenly. It was meant for the assigned to feature, then to route that interaction now over to the billing department so they can take it from there. So it does give me the flexibility to do everything I need to do in this interaction, but then also shuttle the interaction to the right team if it landed in the wrong spot or it needs additional help. And then at the very top here, as Giddy pointed out in his presentation, fields at the top are customizable, so we can define what we're presenting up here. That's going to, again, be as helpful to that agent as possible to know right away who they're dealing with, what the topic of the issue is, what information we might be able to incorporate in and make that agent feel very comfortable with the interaction. Another thing that's important is the dashboard side of things. So as an agent is handling that interaction, a supervisor may want to see a dashboard. So I'm going to go and pull up the dashboard for this team. And in the dashboard, it's a real-time dashboard, so I'm able to see all activity across, in this case, 2 queues, my customer service queue and my IT help desk queue, and then the various channels within those queues. So for my customer service queue, I have a voice channel, I have a nice variety for a very dynamic environment to allow you to address all the needs that you may have from that perspective. So I am going to see here that I have agents that are in various states. So I've got that my agent that's currently logged in, that's me. I've been in the not ready state in voice 4 minutes and 16 seconds. So I know that right now I don't have any agents that are ready, nobody's in green. And in chat, I can see somebody is interacting. Again, that's me. I am the only agent in this environment, but for the last 3 indicated alarms and alerts. So right now it's showing there's 1 pending interaction. As I can, or reaches 5, I can change the color to various states so that I'm visually. So with that, I'm going to kick it back to Melanie.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to recap here, I've shared a couple links in the Q&A for additional resources. So feel free to take a look. You can try Voca yourself with a demo. You can also do a personalized demo if you want to speak to John, and he can create something just custom to you. So feel free to check out those links. I want to thank John and Giddy for their time and for everyone joining us. There were a lot of questions. We answered a lot of them in the chat here. Reminder that this was recorded, and we will share the recording and the PowerPoint at the end. Just give us a little bit of time to put it together, and we'll send it out to everyone by email. So thank you everyone for your time. Hope you have a wonderful day.